Welcome to Movie Slice. Quick fun recaps of your favorite movies. Sharp, funny, and to the point. Hit subscribe and get your perfect slice of cinema. The movie Superman begins with a quick recap of events on planet Earth. We learn that 300 years ago, superpowered beings appeared on Earth. And 30 years ago, a child was sent to Earth from a planet called Krypton. The child was adopted by a farmer and his wife. And 3 years ago, he introduced himself to the world as Superman, the one who would save Earth from any danger. Indeed, Superman managed to do that and became the most famous alien on the planet. We learn that 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped a country called Baravia from invading a country called Garanbor, and 3 hours ago, Superman entered a battle with a superpowered being named the Hammer of Baravia. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost the fight against the Hammer of Baravia, which is the first time he's ever been defeated. We see him falling from the sky and landing in the South Pole, showing clear signs of being beaten, bleeding, and unable to move. He whistles for his dog, Krypto, and suddenly a snowstorm rushes towards Superman, which we learn is formed by Krypto's speed. As soon as Krypto reaches Superman, he starts hopping around, wanting to play, but Superman hands him the edge of his clothes and asks him to take him home. Krypto pulls him quickly until they reach Superman's home, known as the Fortress of Solitude, which rises from beneath the ground, a vast place made of crystal. As soon as they enter, Superman's robots meet them and quickly carry him to treat him. Superman thanks them for their help, but one of them tells him that thanks are unimportant to them, as they were made specifically to serve him. Then the robots play a message for Superman from his parents on Krypton. They tell him they love him very much and that he is the most precious thing in their lives. That's why they sent him to Earth, the safest place in the whole world, because they fear the destruction and ruin that will happen on their planet, and that he is their only hope to save the universe from the evil that will take over it. Suddenly, the message cuts out, and Superman learns from the robots that the message was damaged en route to Earth, so only the first part works. The robots inform Superman that his body has suffered severe injuries and quickly expose him to sunlight so his body can heal and recover. Meanwhile, in the South Pole, a superpowered being named Angela appears. It's clear she's searching for the Fortress of Solitude, but she informs her team she can't pinpoint its location. We return to Superman as he gets up, wanting to resume his fight with the Hammer of Baravia, even though the robots tell him his strength hasn't fully recovered. Superman insists and leaves. At that moment, Angela spots him flying and tells her team that Superman is going back to continue his fight with the Hammer of Baravia. We then see the Hammer of Baravia destroying the city and causing massive devastation, telling the people this is Baravia's revenge because Superman interfered in their internal affairs. It's revealed that the Hammer of Baravia works for a man who owns a large weapons company named Luthor. When Superman arrives in the city, he clashes with the Hammer of Baravia. Luthor and his team monitor the fight and feed the Hammer specific codes during the battle, allowing him to predict all of Superman's moves and dodge them, then attack Superman, knocking him to the ground. Luthor and his team rejoice at their victory over Superman. It's clear Luthor hates Superman and created the Hammer of Baravia specifically to fight and eliminate him. We learn the Hammer's real name is Ultraman, and that Luthor spent years studying Superman's movements until he created Ultraman and programmed him to predict all of Superman's moves and take him down easily. Luthor then exploited the conflict between Superman and Baravia, making everyone believe Ultraman was one of Baravia's weapons. This is shown when Ultraman, after the battle, warns the city's people of Baravia's wrath, saying that if anyone interferes in their affairs again, they will take revenge. Ultraman then goes to a desert camp and enters a tent containing a time portal, passes through it, and arrives at Luthor. Everyone welcomes him, pleased with what they've accomplished. At the same time, Angela reaches the Fortress of Solitude, but as she approaches, it sinks back underground. She informs her team of what happened, and we learn she also works for Luthor. He orders her to return to headquarters immediately. Meanwhile, Superman is lying on the ground, unable to move. A bystander approaches to help and reminds him of who he is, saying his name is Malik, and that he saw Superman before when he saved a woman from being hit by a car. He tells him that Superman has helped them many times, and now it's time for them to help him. When Superman tries to fly, he can't because of his injuries, and the people around him sympathize with him. Luthor is watching and focuses on Malik, gathering all information about him. The next day, Superman returns to his normal life as a reporter at the city's biggest newspaper. As he enters, he sees the security guard watching an article about the Hammer of Baravia. and we learn Superman wrote that article. He then gets a call from his adoptive parents, who tell him they're very happy with the article he wrote. His colleague Lois appears and congratulates him on its success. Their colleague Jimmy informs them the damages exceeded $20 million, but he is cut off when the news broadcasts a press conference by Baravia's president, Vasily, who says his country has nothing to do with the being known as the Hammer of Baravia. Vasily is upset because his country had good relations with America, and neither interfered in the other's affairs until Superman appeared and stopped their invasion of Garanbor. He holds Superman responsible for the destruction. At the same time, we see Luthor in a secret meeting at the Ministry of Defense, presenting a video showing several combat robots he invented. Luthor requests that his forces be officially placed under the Ministry of Defense, aiming to get rid of and destroy Superman, especially after he acted on his own and attacked the army of the country of Baravia and destroyed it before they could take over the neighboring country. One of the officials tells Luthor that she's not convinced by what he's saying and informs him that Baravia bought weapons worth $80 billion from his company in just 2 years, which means Luthor is the biggest beneficiary of this war. And since Superman prevented the war, Baravia won't be buying weapons from Luthor again, and that's the real reason Luthor wants to get rid of Superman. Luthor denies this and says Superman has become a potential danger and must be stopped, especially since he acted unilaterally without consulting any officials. But one of the leaders reminds him that Superman saved them from many wars that were about to happen, that he's famous and much loved for his heroic deeds, and most importantly, there is no evidence that Superman poses a threat to Earth. In the end, Luthor's request is denied. At night, Lois returns to her company and is surprised to find Superman waiting for her. We learn that Lois knows Superman's true identity and that she and Superman love each other. We also learn Lois herself wants to do an interview with Superman. He agrees, and Lois begins by asking him about the last thing he did, telling him the Secretary of Defense didn't like what he did to Baravia's army, especially since Superman didn't get permission before entering its airspace, or even request authorization to strike its forces. Superman tells her he was able to stop the war with no casualties and destroyed all of Baravia's military weapons without harming a single soldier, which is what matters to him. He adds that he spoke with Vasily, the president of Baravia, but the details of their conversation are confidential and he can't share them. Lois gets upset, stops the recording, and reminds him he's in a press interview and can't say there are things he can't talk about because that will make him look like he's hiding something. Superman tells her he warned Vasily against invading the country of Garanbor and that he would personally stop him. Lois then tells him there's currently a fierce campaign against him on social media because of what he did. People have started talking about him and doubting his actions, seeing him as an alien and not human. Superman gets angry and says he doesn't care what anyone says. What matters to him is saving lives that would have been lost. He calms down and tells her his parents sent him to Earth as a child after their planet was destroyed, so he could grow up to serve humanity and protect Earth from any potential threat. Since then, he's tried to fulfill his parents' wishes, but Lois tells him that a large segment of people suspect he's here to conquer Earth, not to protect people like he claims. Superman is upset by her words and decides to end the interview. Lois is hurt and tells him that this way they won't be able to continue together. Superman feels sad, leaves her and goes. At that time, Luthor, Angela, and Ultraman arrive at the South Pole and head toward the Fortress of Solitude. Angela is surprised when the fortress appears before them, and the door opens easily. As soon as they enter, they clash with the guarding robots and take them all down. But Krypto attacks Angela and scratches her face, so she attacks him, covers his face with a substance from her body, and brings him under her control. Luthor approaches the control devices and orders Angela to examine them in hopes of finding something they can use against Superman to ruin his reputation. Angela extrudes a substance from her body and connects it to the devices. A message that Superman received from his family appears, and Angela manages to repair the damaged part of the message. Meanwhile, in the city, 2 of Luthor's men appear with a ferocious creature named Kaiju and unleash it in the streets. The next day, Kaiju grows larger and becomes massive, attacking the city and destroying everything. Superman immediately flies to Kaiju's location and arrives just in time before Kaiju steps on a small dog, saving it. Superman engages Kaiju in battle, but Kaiju is strong and breathes fire, trying to burn Superman. Superman evades, flies up into the sky, then dives at high speed to strike Kaiju with a powerful blow, but it has no effect. Superman decides to prioritize saving people and animals before Kaiju kills them. The government's justice team appears, consisting of 3 superheroes, Gary, Lara, and Traffic. They join Superman in the fight against Kaiju. Gary manages to forge restraints and control Kaiju. Lara attacks Kaiju and hits its eye hard. During the battle, Superman keeps protecting civilians until Traffic ends the fight by inserting bombs inside Kaiju's body and detonating them, killing it. Superman supports Kaiju's body before it collapses onto people. Everyone is happy with what Superman did, especially the children. Suddenly, news about Superman appears on the screens, claiming he's a threat to humanity because his message has spread widely after Angela repaired its broken part. We learn that more than 20 experts analyzed the message and confirmed its authenticity. The problem is that in the message, Superman's family says Earth's inhabitants have weak, backward minds, and therefore Superman must seize the planet and eliminate anyone who can't serve or help him achieve his goal. The father instructs him to rule Earth without mercy, while the mother advises him to marry many women to father as many children as possible, so his lineage grows and multiplies. At the same time, Luthor appears live on a TV program, telling everyone Superman has been acting and deceiving them all along, presenting himself as a hero to cover up his crimes in secret until he can seize the planet. Luthor vows before the whole world that he won't allow that to happen. People are shocked by what they hear and begin attacking Superman, who is very sad and can't believe what's happening. He leaves them and enters the building in front of him. Gary, Lara, and Traffic follow him and ask about the message, whether it's real or not. Superman replies that the first part is real and he didn't hear the rest because it was corrupted, and he suspects Luthor fabricated the second part. But Traffic says, experts reviewed the message and confirmed it was genuine, while Lara is surprised that Luthor received the message at all. Superman realizes Luthor has breached the Fortress of Solitude, so he flies there quickly. Meanwhile, Defense Department leaders convene and issue an order making Luthor responsible for fighting and capturing Superman. Lois follows news reports showing public opinion has turned against Superman, and people have begun to hate him. Then Vasily appears at a press conference claiming Superman interfered in their war against the country of Garnbor for personal reasons, including taking control of the country and enslaving humans to achieve a goal and invade Earth. After he finishes, he returns to his office, opens a secret door to Luthor's forces headquarters, and we learn Vasily also works for Luthor. He's pleased with what happened to Superman, and Luthor tells him he didn't expect Superman's own people to be the reason for his defeat. Superman reaches the fortress and finds one of the robots on the ground, still functioning. The robot apologizes for failing to protect the place. Superman is surprised Luthor managed to breach the fortress since it only opens with his genetic signature. The robot powers down, and Superman mourns its loss. He then notices the Krypton crystal is missing, so he flies to Luthor's office and demands to know where Krypton is. Luthor claims not to understand. Enraged, Superman destroys the place. Eve, Luthor's lover, films everything and live streams it, and everyone sees Superman yelling at Luthor. That night, Superman returns to Lois's apartment. She immediately apologizes for what happened before and says she didn't expect he had a dog. He tells her the dog isn't his. He's just taking care of it until he returns it to its owner. Sadness shows on Superman's face as he tells Lois the broadcast message wasn't real, that he only heard the first part, and that his parents would never have sent him to Earth to conquer it. Lois says she believes him and tells him he must face the situation with strength and courage until he proves to people he's their protector. But she's shocked when Superman says he'll surrender so he can reach Krypton and save it. The next day, Superman surrenders to Luthor's soldiers, who take him to a desert military base. They enter a time gate leading to a parallel world. There, Luthor tells him they are in a world he created and that he built many portals on Earth that lead to it. He imprisons Superman in a cell with a prisoner named Rex, who can turn into any substance in the universe. Luthor has kidnapped Rex's son to force his obedience. Luthor orders Rex to turn his hand into kryptonite to weaken Superman and control him. Luthor then shows Superman a captured Krypton, toys with his mind, and tells him he'll keep experimenting on him until he dies. He adds that he wants to kill him, but the Defense Department judges don't want that before interrogating him. Meanwhile, Lois investigates Luthor's involvement and discovers the country of Baravia bought weapons from Luthor's company for $80 billion. But bank records show only small amounts were paid. This proves Luthor orchestrated everything from the start to get rid of Superman. Suddenly her colleague Jimmy says he's involved with Eve, Luthor's lover, and learned from her that Luthor trapped Superman in a parallel world. Back to Superman. He speaks to Rex, asking him to remove the kryptonite so he can save Rex's son and free them all. But Rex doesn't believe him and refuses. Then Luthor brings Malik, the man who once helped Superman on the street, puts a gun to Malik's head and demands answers, threatening to kill him. Superman refuses, and Luthor shoots Malik dead. Grief-stricken Superman cries. Luthor says he'll return to interrogate him with another victim to kill if he doesn't answer. At the same time, Lois goes to the Justice League asking for help to save Superman, explaining Luthor has him in an unreachable parallel world. Traffic activates tiny electronic particles he had implanted in Superman's body without his knowledge to track his movements. He's surprised Superman reached the military base. Then the signal cut out, confirming Lois's claim that Superman moved to a parallel world. But Gary and Lara aren't eager to rescue him because they believe he came to conquer Earth. Lois angrily accuses them of being jealous because he's stronger and storms off. Traffic follows her, saying he wants to save Superman and learn the truth about Luthor's parallel world. He takes her in his craft to the military base. Upon arrival, Traffic activates a protective shield around Lois, fights Luthor's soldiers, and takes them down, impressing Lois. They enter the time gate to the parallel world. Traffic warns Lois it's dangerous, and they can't pass through that gate because the tech is forbidden and could kill them in seconds. Lois insists on going in to save Superman. Traffic deploys small robots to analyze the gate and realizes creating such a parallel world is dangerous and could crack Earth at any moment, splitting it into two different worlds. He starts decoding the gate, succeeds, and they enter the parallel world, only to find a river of fire below them. Traffic tells Lois they can't cross it to reach Superman. The only solution is for Superman to locate the gate and pass through it himself. Traffic sends a small robot to search for Superman, hoping it will find him and guide him to the time gate so he can escape that world. And at that time, we see Chris sad because of what happened to Malik, and he keeps blaming himself because he couldn't save him from Luthor's hands. Suddenly, he decides to team up with Superman to break him out of prison and hides the kryptonite element that weakens Superman's power. After that, Superman's condition improves, but he's still not able to reach his full strength because he needs sunlight for his power to return. So he creates a very large sphere of solar energy, and suddenly an explosion and a tremendous light fill the entire place. Here, Superman regains his strength, destroys the cell, and flies quickly toward the cell holding Rex's son. He rescues him, and Rex is happy when he sees Superman carrying his son, but he can't take him from him because he has turned into a mass of fire. After that, Superman frees Krypton from his cell, and they all start searching for a time portal to return to the real world. But suddenly a group of Luthor's soldiers attack them and knock Superman into the river of fire. He tries as much as he can to protect Krypton and the child with him, while Rex releases a corrosive substance from his body and wipes out all the soldiers in front of him. He runs quickly and grabs Superman before he gets dragged into a black hole, and at the same time Superman blows strong winds from his mouth and pushes himself and those with him away from the black hole. They get out of the river, and at that moment the robot sent by Traffic to locate Superman appears before them. The robot informs them of the time portal's location, so they follow it quickly and all exit through the portal before it closes. But at that time Superman's body weakens due to the kryptonite he was exposed to, so Traffic tells him he needs to rest so his body can recover and asks Lois to take Superman somewhere safe to rest. He gives her his ship so she can take him wherever she wants. As for Rex, he takes his son and leaves, and Lois decides to take Superman to the home of his adoptive parents. There they lay him in his bed so he can rest. At that moment, Eve calls Jimmy and tells him she will send him all the information he wants to know about Luthor. But Jimmy is surprised when Eve sends him photos of herself, so he calls Lois and tells her what happened and forwards the photos Eve sent. Lois realizes Eve is clever and has photographed all of Luthor's plans in a smart way. Meanwhile, Luthor is furious about Superman escaping from prison and tries to repair the destroyed portal. They try to warn him that this could cause a massive fissure in the earth, but he ignores it and continues what he's doing. The next day, Superman wakes up clearly improved. His father notices he's sad and sits beside him. Superman says he's shocked by his biological parents and never imagined they sent him to conquer Earth. His father comforts him, saying it's not his fault and that he will make and carry out his own choices, and tells him he's proud of him and everything he's done. Then Superman's mother calls him to watch the news, and Superman is shocked to learn that the country of Baravia has declared war on the country of Garanbor. The children raise Superman's flag and chant his name to come save them. The people of the country all chant Superman's name, so he decides to answer the call and move immediately. But traffic contacts him and tells him he needs his help because there is a massive fissure in the earth that will destroy the whole world. Meanwhile, Jimmy and Lois explain to the editor-in-chief everything they've learned and conclude that Luthor is behind all the chaos, planning everything from the start to seize Garanbor and appoint himself its leader, as it's a country rich in oil fields and has enormous mineral wealth. Luthor is also allied with the president of Baravia and promised to give him part of Garanbor. Lois tells the editor that Luthor is leaving the fissure unchecked, so Superman will be busy saving people while he invades Garanbor. The editor believes her and has them take Traffic's ship to broadcast live and expose all of Luthor's scandals to the world. At that time, the police begin evacuating citizens from all areas where the fissure appears, but it expands rapidly, destroying buildings and causing massive chaos in the streets. It looks like a building will collapse onto a bridge and kill many people, but Superman catches the building before it falls on them. Then Traffic explains to Superman that there's a secret code that can close the fissure, and that code is with Luthor. Suddenly, Ultraman and Angela appear and attack them. Traffic faints from the impact. Ultraman and Angela attack Superman together, but he manages to block all their blows. Luthor watches the battle and orders Angela to quickly take control of Superman. Angela releases a black substance from her body and hits Superman with it. It rapidly infiltrates his body. Superman flies into the sky at high speed to get rid of it, but Angela and Ultra fly after him and grab him to let the substance take over his whole body and kill him. Superman surprises them by diving to the ground at tremendous speed. They slam into the earth with great force. Luthor is terrified to learn Angela has been gravely injured and is near death. Superman is still alive and expels the black substance from his body because its effect ended due to Angela's injury. Superman is stunned to find Ultraman still alive, and even more stunned when Ultraman removes his mask to reveal he's an exact copy of him. Superman realizes how Luthor entered his fortress. Luthor tells Superman he followed all the battles he fought, managed to obtain a strand of his hair, and used it to create his clone. He informs them that Baravia's forces will now occupy Garanbor and wipe out its people. Luthor then controls Ultraman and orders him to attack Superman and strike him. At the same time, Baravia's forces attack the people of Garanbor. Superman's flag falls to the ground, but a small child appears, raises the flag again, stands before the forces, closes his eyes, and keeps chanting Superman's name. At that moment, Superman gathers his strength, attacks Ultraman, and lands powerful blows. He then tells Luthor that no matter what he does, he will never be able to conquer Garanbor because his friends will defend it fiercely. Luthor is puzzled by his words. We see the child holding Superman's flag as the forces approach him, and suddenly Jay appears, creates a protective barrier around him, and says to him, Superman is the one who sent them to save them. After that, Jerry destroys the forces of the state of Baravia. Rex joins him in the battle to help him. As for Lara, she goes after Vasil, who tries to escape. She catches him, flies him into the air, then throws him from a great height, and finishes him off. Meanwhile, Superman continues his fight with Ultraman. Ultraman tries to control Superman and shoots a laser beam from his eyes to kill him, but Superman isn't affected. He asks Luthor why he's doing all this. Luthor says he wants to prove to the whole world that the human mind can surpass any power in the universe. But he's surprised when Superman smirks and tells him the fate of an evil human mind is defeat. Suddenly, he summons his dog Krypto to join him. Krypto arrives quickly, attacks Ultraman, and lands a powerful blow. Then Superman orders him to destroy Luthor's robots that he's using to monitor them. Luthor gets angry because he's lost control of Ultraman and decides to send all his soldiers to finish Superman off. At that moment, Superman attacks Ultraman and beats him fiercely. Luthor's soldiers appear before him, so he attacks them, fires a beam from his eyes, and destroys them in moments. Ultraman regains his strength and attacks Superman again, but Superman throws him into a black hole and gets rid of him forever. Then Traffic arrives, takes Superman and Krypto, and they head to Luthor's base to stop the rift before it destroys the planet. There, Traffic attacks all of Luthor's assistants, pushes them away from the devices, and starts working quickly to stop the rift. Luthor stands before Superman and tells him he's an alien and doesn't belong to humans. Superman shouts back that this isn't true, and the proof is that he has feelings just like humans. But Luthor isn't convinced and says he was wrong to listen to the judges and let him live. Here, Krypto attacks Luthor, knocks him to the ground, and keeps smashing him into the walls. He's about to kill him when Superman stops him at the last moment. Meanwhile, Traffic succeeds in stopping the rift and saves planet Earth. Everything returns to normal. Luthor is shocked to see the news broadcasts revealing all his plans and proving to the world that he's cooperating with the president of Baravia to get rid of Superman, all to smear Superman's image before the world. They apologize to Superman for attacking him earlier. At that time, the people of the state of Garanbor chant Superman's name and that of his companions who saved them from death. Rex is happy that he took part in the mission, and even happier when Gary tells him he'll officially join the Justice League. Then the police arrest Luthor and take him to prison. At that moment, Evo appears, runs to Jimmy, and hugs him. Superman hugs Lois and flies with her into the air. After that, Superman returns to the Fortress of Solitude and finds everything back to how it was. He learns that the robots were able to repair themselves and the entire place. Suddenly, Superman's cousin appears and asks him why he had closed the time gate. He tells her there were repairs going on at the place. We learn that Superman's cousin is actually Krypto's owner, and that she left him with Superman while she took a tour of the universe and came back. Afterward, the robots seat Superman in front of the sunlight so he can regain his strength, and they play his memory reel of when he was still a child with his adoptive parents to calm. And the movie ends. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never